G'day guys, and welcome to this business management lesson. In today's lesson, we're looking at key knowledge point 1.1.10. That is Unit 1, Area of Study 1, and the 10th key knowledge point for this area of study. Today specifically, we're looking at the methods by which a culture of business innovation and entrepreneurship may be fostered in a nation. Helpfully, this key knowledge point gives us a list of the different methods that you need to be familiar with, which is such as government investment in research and development, council grants for new businesses, school-based educational programs in entrepreneurship, and the creation of regional business startup hubs. It's not a huge leap thinking about the content of our previous lesson, the ways in which businesses contribute to the economic and social well-being of a nation, to understand that governments want there to be a significant number of successful businesses within their territory. If these businesses are paying money through taxation that can help fund government investment in infrastructure and services, if these businesses are providing impacts on social well-being, positive impacts on social well-being for communities, that's an influence that the government then doesn't have to take responsibility for. There are all sorts of reasons that governments like successful businesses. And so governments are motivated to try and encourage innovation and entrepreneurship, which both create sources of business opportunity, and there are methods that governments can use to try and increase innovation and entrepreneurship within a society. The four methods that we're going to look at are the ones listed in the study design. Let's get started. Government investment in research and development involves the government funding private organizations or scientific institutions to specifically look at developing new technologies, investigating ways to improve existing technologies, or trying to improve processes that are already relied on in industry and research. One example of an institute that does this specifically is the CSIRO, which is a government-funded research agency. They are some of Australia's cutting-edge researchers and scientists that the government funds their research so that hopefully the results of that research can be used to provide business opportunities and improve life and business for Australians. One of the big inventions out of CSIRO in the last couple of decades includes Wi-Fi, which, if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you're taking advantage of Wi-Fi. It's something that has revolutionized life for individual citizens as well as business activities. When we talk about research and development, it's important to remember back in our lesson on Key Knowledge Point 114 that research and development is one source of business opportunity. And if you can't remember how to link research and development with sources of business opportunity, go back and revisit that lesson. But governments funding research and development is one way that governments can try and drive an increase in business opportunities. Oz Industry is one example of a way that governments do this, or certainly the federal Australian government does this. The Oz Industry program is funded by the Department of Industry, Innovation and Science and offers a number of programs and a number of incentives that should, in theory, result in an increase of innovation and entrepreneurial opportunities through research and development. 3 examples are the Entrepreneurs program, where people who are looking to start businesses that are involved in industry, innovation, or science, particularly agricultural studies or the agriculture industry, can access funding through that program. There are research and development tax incentives for firms that are doing research and development in areas that the Department of Industry, Innovation and Science identifies as important. And certainly, there's the Regional Innovation Fund, which provides funding for farmers and for people operating in the regions who are looking to invest in new technologies that might yield increases in efficiency and effectiveness for their business. Council grants are readily available in almost all council jurisdictions. Local councils tend to like businesses of certain types to be set up and successful within their areas. Certainly, if you're thinking about inner city councils like Melbourne City Council, they would be very interested and very happy to provide opportunities for restaurants and cafes, for tourist attractions to set up and become successful, because we know that those sorts of things tend to bring tourists to an area like a city, and tourism brings in money and funding. Certainly, for this reason, the City of Melbourne has a small business grants program that can provide financial assistance to businesses of certain types that are currently located or getting started in a location within the City of Melbourne. School-based educational programs in entrepreneurship is another way that governments can invest in trying to improve or increase innovation and entrepreneurship within a culture. The VCTA Plan Your Own Enterprise competition is one that's been run on and off over several years, where students are encouraged to submit a business plan with cash prizes up for grabs. There's the YCA $20 Boss, which is a very similar program. Using no more than $20 of funding, can you propose and try and start a business? And there are prizes to be earned there. And then the BEA Incorporated Plan Your Own Enterprise competition is another example of that sort of thing. Many schools take advantage of these competitions and have students, or provide students with an opportunity to work on their submissions and make a submission as part of the school's commerce program. So maybe you've heard of some of these. But if you haven't, these are examples of competitions and opportunities that are provided to encourage students in schools to build their understanding of business and have a go at planning and starting a business. That kind of entrepreneurial exercise for school-age students should, in theory and in practice, increase the entrepreneurial spirit in people once they've left school. And once they've had that process of trying to start a business and starting a business, suddenly there are a few less doubts and a lot less insecurity in that process. People are more likely to start businesses later on in their lives. Regional business startup hubs are business centers on subsidized premises that provide advice and services and support and can be used for networking for businesses that are getting started up in regional areas. So certainly you can see on your screen now the Geelong Small Business Festival runs in August, and the Victorian Small Business Festival that I actually haven't been able to find any promotional materials for a year since 2016, but I do know that similar events have gone ahead year on year. These exist to try and facilitate entrepreneurialism or entrepreneurship in regional areas. So as part of the Geelong Small Business Festival, it's conferences and it's networking events and it's workshops that people who want to run a business in the greater Geelong region can attend. They can get advice. They can get advice about how to run their business. They can get advice about doing business with suppliers. They can get advice about managing their tax requirements. Certainly, they can get advice and assistance with applying for grants and government funding, the sorts of things we spoke about previously. And so these events are typically funded by local governments to try and facilitate the establishment and the ongoing success of businesses within their area. In summary, for this key knowledge point, successful businesses contribute to a stronger economy. And we know from our last lesson that a strong economy is one in which employment is higher, people have more money, or households have more money to afford the cost of living. Generally, we would describe a strong economy as one in which the citizens have a better quality of life and less stress. It is in the government's best interest, therefore, to ensure that businesses keep growing and that new businesses that have the potential to be successful are getting started. Governments often invest significant resources into encouraging entrepreneurial activities, and governments also invest in assisting entrepreneurs to get their businesses started for all of the reasons that we've discussed. The 4 ways that are listed in the study design that governments invest in research and development, in innovation, and in entrepreneurship are government investment in research and development, council grants for new businesses, school-based education programs in entrepreneurship, and the creation of regional business startup hubs. That's all for today. See you next time.